In 2005, when Microsoft released the Xbox 360 into the world, they did so with a unique feature that would end up becoming the new standard in gaming, these being achievements. Achievements were essentially created to be progress trackers on how much of a game you have completed. Examples of this being like how many missions you completed in a Call of Duty or how many zombies you had killed in Dead Rising. But that was the standard use for it. As for the real reason it was created was to have challenges presented to you that you could overcome and then be able to show off the proof of purchase to others. And I guess that was the big deal of achievements. It was the simple fact that everything you had achieved would simply stick to your profile. It was no longer like the olden days where if you told someone you had 100%ed Super Mario 64, you actually had to show them the evidence of you doing so. Instead, now it would just be right there on your card for everyone to see. And that was just the general rule with games. They had general achievements with a few harder ones sprinkled in. And when it came to those harder ones, there was challenge aplenty to be had, since there were infamous achievements that would pop up, such as Mile High Club, 7-Day Survivor, Survived 1 Million, Seriously World Champion, and The Shadows Rushed Me. But that's not to say that there weren't any outliers that came along with stupendously easy achievements, such as Avatar The Last Airbender, The Burning Earth, and Doritos Harm's Way. But in the end, that's kinda just how it was, because of how the certain rules and restrictions that games got when it came to achievements were laid out. And for the 3/4 of the games that were available on the Xbox 360, these were the rules. The retail AAA releases usually came with 50 achievements worth 1,000 gamer score. The Xbox Live AA games, achievement-wise, either came with 12 achievements worth 200 gamer score or 20 worth 400 gamer score. And of course, add in any paid DLC or updates that would add some more achievements to a game. Which brings us to the remaining 1/4 of games that were available for the system, known as the Xbox Live Indie games. These were cheaper games that were mainly priced between $1 to $2, but for the sake of this video, their importance come down to the fact that this whole section of games didn't have any achievements attached to it. I guess this was due to them being such smaller games that Microsoft just didn't think that they were necessary to have achievements be put into them. And that's how it was for the 360 era, but everything would end up changing once the Xbox One came out. Because with the release of the One came the homogenization of the online store, and with that the loss of the rules on achievements that were instated from the previous generation. No longer did the majority of retail games have to stick to only 50 achievements, as they could now do either more or less. Both Xbox Live Arcade and Xbox Live Indie games no longer existed, as they were now all just games available within the same shop. And no longer did the arcade games need to adhere to only 200 or 400 gamer score, as well as indie games just gaining achievements in general with no restrictions put in place at all. And well, that's where the big issue comes from. Cheap little indie games that have simplistically easy achievements that can be completed in some cases less than 10 minutes. And it's just disappointing to see these types of games exist, to see these developers make a quick buck off of achievement hunters, and those same achievement hunters eating it all up just for some quick victories. But before I continue, I should say that I am not trying to speak from a place of superiority, as I am not completely free of sin here, as I also was once like this, but not to as an extreme extent. There were definitely games that I went out of my way to buy just for their easy achievements to unlock. And at one point my opinion on this issue was that I equated it to being like junk food. It's something that you could do every once in a while but shouldn't consist of your whole diet. But now I just look at this as stupid. You shouldn't play games that you otherwise wouldn't have just because it had piss easy achievements, but instead play games that you actually want to play regardless of their achievement difficulty. And I do mean this for both sides. Play the games that you want to play, not the games that you feel like you have to play in order to boost up your gamer score or true achievement ratio. Oh, and speaking of TA, I'm also not a fan of them promoting this type of achievement hunting. But it does seem like there is a light at the end of the tunnel for all this, with Microsoft finally cracking down on these types of games and hopefully getting rid of them for good. And that's really all I gotta say say about this issue. Now, you might be asking why exactly did I make this video. Well, here's why. I made this video because seeing these types of games just existing is just disgusting to me as an achievement hunter. Especially more so not only when I see other achievement hunters being exploited to buy these types of games, but also from the normalization of this type of achievement hunting. I believe that achievements are supposed to be something that you have earned, something that you have worked towards, not something that is showered upon you just for pressing a single button for 5 minutes. But in the end, I guess that I acknowledge that this is only my opinion on the matter, and I can't stop people from buying the games that they want to buy regardless of their reasoning to buy them. And I also can't stop people from making those types of games because there's clearly a demand for them, so there's no reason for them not to supply it. But at least I can still control what games I buy and what achievements I go after, so I guess that's good enough for me. Oh, and I guess this video's arguments can also apply to PlayStation trophies or Steam achievements or I don't know if Nintendo actually has achievement equivalents. I think they're called accomplishments. I don't know.